So welcome back to Learning Partner. This is another video where we will be focusing on another small machine test task. It is going to be a ticket booking application for an amusement park. So let's say we have an amusement park, right? There we just have to create a ticketing tool where uh, the operators who is going to sit at the ticket counter when customer is there, he will inform like what number of adults are there, what number of children are there, and then the staff will create a ticket for him. So if you can see the fields like ticket date, so either it can be a future date also like advance booking, or he is going to visit for today only. The name, mobile number, email. Email is optional, but name and the mobile number is required. City, state, pin code, all these things are optional. Then we have a drop down that is reference, like from where you did get the reference of this amusement park, just to segregate the data, like from where we are getting the customers, right? So here you can say I have just added newspaper and the social media. But if you select other, this other will be visible, the other text box. But if we say newspaper, then this should be hidden, right? So we have some logical task is there within this task. So on, if this drop down value is having other, then only this should be visible. If it not other, then it will be hidden, right? After that, the calculation part. So we have adult rate, then child rate, adult count, and the children count. So let's say I put something 500 for adult, 300 for children. Let's say I said I have two adults and five children. So my calculation should be like that: 500 into 2 plus 300 into 5. And that total should be displayed over here. This is a disabled mode. Okay. Then same amount, whatever the amount we get calculated over here, this should be displayed over here also. But if I add a discount, let's say 12%. So whatever the amount calculated over here, we have to minus the 12% discount. We have to add the 12% discount to that amount, and the remaining amount we have to show it over here. And this will be our final ticket amount, right? So this is the single page. Then we have to show the ticket list also. We will create another page, right? Now let me just show you the table for this. So YouTube ticket, this is my table. Let's go into the design mode. I will explain the table, then the API, then we will start on the Angular side. So here you can see ticket ID is my primary key, right? Customer name, mobile, all the related fields are there. Extra ticket is the extra one more field is there, ticket number. But you can see ticket number field we have not taken inside the form, because once you create the ticket, then only ticket number will be auto generated, right? Now, this was the table. Now I will jump to my API. So this is a controller I have created. In that controller, we have get ticket dashboard, one API, get all ticket, one more API, get today's ticket API. So in get all ticket, what I'm doing, whatever the data I get from the that particular table, only some fields are I'm returning from this API. You can see in the table I have so many fields, but when it come to display the data onto the list or any table, we don't have to show all these fields, right? Let's say we have 6 7 fields over here. Again, almost 13 to 14 fields are there. It is not required to show all the 13 to 14 fields in the table, right? But just important fields we need to show, right? So for that, in from API only, I'm returning certain data like ticket date, ticket ID, date, adult count, children count, customer name, final amount, and the mobile number. Some things I'm one more thing I need to send ticket number as well. So let me just add ticket number as well, because we need to show the ticket number as well. So this is just a model what we create in Angular, or kind of object only what we create in Angular or React, same like that. So ticket dot ticket number. That's it. I will deploy this, right? So get all tickets API. This API is going to return all the data, whatever the data I have in that particular table. One more API is there, that is get today's ticket. So if you see here, I have just same code is there. Just I have to add today's date condition. So see, this is the condition where ticket dot ticket date dot date is equal to date time dot now. So I'm comparing with the current date. Whatever the records I have in my table, while getting that, I'm just adding one more condition, like wherever ticket date is today's date, right? So this API will serve the purpose of showing the today's entered data only, right? Then we have get ticket by ticket ID. So now in the list, we don't have all the data. Let's say you want to edit the ticket. So this is the API where you need to pass the ticket ID. Whatever the ticket ID you pass, you will get the particular data of that ticket, means one object, right? Above APIs were sending the data of array, right? But here, whatever the ticket number you send, that ticket data you will get single object. Then this is the save API for creating new ticket, right? So here you can see I have told you like ticket number is going to be auto generated. So see, this is the logic. So first what I'm doing, I'm getting the count of original tickets, whatever the number of records I have in the table. Then ticket number, I'm creating something unique. Resort hyphen, then whatever the ticket number, whatever the records I have plus one. Let's say currently I have 5 records. So next ticket number will be resort hyphen 6, right? So that's why ticket number will be unique. Then update ticket API is there, and the delete. For delete also you need to send the ticket ID and it will remove that particular data from the table. So only 5 to 6 APIs are there. All these API now we are going to integrate in the Angular application. Same in the React also, just logic will be same, but the syntax you will be writing in the React mode, right? For API call in Angular, we use HTTP client. In the React, you will use Exos or the fetch API, right? So this is an existing this is just a project I have created. Now, this UI you can already find in the YouTube project template in my repository, so that you don't have to work again on the UI. So now, first I will need the navbar. Navbar I will put inside my app component. So this is my app component. I will put my navbar over here. Let's check the application. Localhost 4200. So you can see at the bottom, I have the navbar. This is coming at the bottom because I have fixed bottom. So let's me remove this so that my navbar will be at the top. Okay. So navbar is done. Now we have to create the components. So what we have discussed, like first page will be to create a new ticket. Second page will be to show all the tickets created. And third page will be to show the dashboard, right? Or dashboard, you we can, rather than creating only two fields are going to be there. So rather than creating a separate component, we can show the count in the navbar only. Here we can show the count, right? So we will save our one component code. So in app folder, I will create a folder, pages, and here I have to create a component. So right click, open in a terminal, ng generate component, and component name will be new ticket. Enter. Just like that, one more component for the ticket list. So same like thing in React also, you can create two JS files and then you can create the component inside that. Second component will be ticket list. Enter. So only two components we are going to need. Now after creating components, we have to create the routes. Same thing, same like that in the React also we create the routes, right? So in app routing model.ts, we have to create the routes. First, empty default route I will be creating. So path empty, redirect to, let's say home or new ticket. Path match strategy, that will be with full, right? Then second path, and our URL name will be new ticket only. Then component colon new ticket. So this is the first route we have created. Like that, we have to create the second route. Second route will be ticket list. And the component we have to open on this ticket list is ticket list component, right? So we have created our 3 routes. Now, so routes are created. After that, let's just check if by default our ticket component should be loaded over there. Okay, one more thing. We have added a nav bar, but we need router outlet as well. So router outlet, let's wrap this in a container fluid class so that we get some spacing around. Let's put it over here. Now if we save all, our by default, you can see new ticket component is getting loaded, right? Even if I don't have anything in the URL, still it is redirecting new ticket. That's because of the default route we have created. It's because of this. If we don't have anything in the URL, it is redirecting to the this route and this component is getting rendered. Let's close this. Let's close this. Now coming back to new ticket. So now in new ticket, first we need the form. So I have the HTML already ready. So I will copy this and paste it over here. Let's save and check. Okay, so form is coming, just the image is not. So let me just add the image also. Image we should keep in the asset folder. Let me just get the image also from here. SVG image is there. Right now, we don't need this also. At the top, we have the image tag. So let's just change the path also. Now it will be from assets slash banner.svg. Let's save and check if we are able to. Yes. So now you can see whatever the UI we have seen, that same UI got generated over here, right? Now, in Angular or in React as well, first, after UI is done, first we create the object, right? With whatever the properties we need to send the new API, right? So this is the API and this is the object we have to send, right? So what we do normally, we copy the fields and we create an object. So let's do that. I have copied the object. Let's go to component.ts. That is this component, right? So new ticket obj colon any equal to our object. Now I just have to remove dots, this string with empty string. So always try to copy paste so that you can save the time, right? So what I have done, string I have search and pasted in the search box and I'm replacing it with empty. That's it, right? Ticket date by default, you doesn't matter. Sorry, in the API side, I haven't taken the current date. So from here, you need to by default send it. Okay, so ticket date I'm initializing with new date. Remaining things are I'm initializing with 00. Okay, now object is created. Now this object we have to bind to our form. So in Angular side, whatever the fields I have, I just need to bind that. Before binding, now we are going to use the forms module. So we need to add forms module over here. So in the import section, forms module. And since we are going to make the API call also, so we need HTTP client module. So just like XJS, we also have to import in Angular also. So common slash HTTP, and it will be HTTP client module. And this will go in the imports array, right? After that, this is done. Now, in all the text boxes, we can add our ng model. So square bracket, round bracket, ng model, right? Now again, one more way to save the time. So just now, ng model, this is going to be common on all the text box, right? So either you can just copy paste this or else you can do like this. Just Control F, what I'm searching, control type is equal to text, and that I'm going to replace with this. So now you don't have to go everywhere and do the copy paste. See, 14 elements are there. Let's replace that. So now you have saved so much of time rather than going on the each element and copy pasting it. Now you have saved your time. After that, just open this on the right side so that you don't have to again click and click. Let me just make it like this. Now you just have to copy paste the field name. So first is like ticket date. So this is the ticket date. I will copy and paste it. Then customer name. So I will just copy paste it. Mobile, email, city, whatever the object we have. In the React also, instead of this, we bind the object and the field with value tag, right? So just the same. Just the syntax will be different, or writing way of writing code is different in case of React and Angular, but almost logic will be same. Now we have the drop down. So let me just copy this one more time, paste it over here. In the reference field, we have to add it over here. Then the adult part, child count. Okay, sorry, this is rate. Adult rate over here, child rate over here. Then we have adult count. Sorry, something is wrong. Adult rate over here, then child rate over here, then adult count. Sorry, adult count, then child count at the bottom, then discount. No, just initial total. So that is with total amount. Then discount in percent. Okay, here also it was input type number, so that's why I didn't copy pasted that. Discount in percent. Then last thing, final amount. Right. So you can see both these text boxes are disabled because I have added read only. The final amount and the total amount, both fields are disabled. Right. So let's just save and check. Let's just check if we have any error. Yeah, we have an error. Okay, CPNG model is. So I might have a form tag. So let me just remove that form tag. Otherwise, everywhere we have to add that name attribute. Okay, it got break. UI got break somehow. So instead of form, let's make it div. Yeah, so now form is proper, right? So we have created object. That object fields we have binded to all the fields. Now on click of book ticket, we have to make the API call, right? So now in Angular, to make the API call, first we have to create the component function, right? So to make the API call, first we have to create the HTTP client service object, right? So after object, I have to create constructor, round bracket, private, HTTP, HTTP client. Either you can create service also. It is not suggesting. Let me write complete. Okay, so it is suggesting import now. Either you can create service also and put your API call over there also, or you can write the API call in component itself. But when you are appearing for the machine test, always try to create a service and put your API call over there. And when you are creating object also, don't create this with any. Always try to create a class or the interface. That will showcase your programming skill, right? But just to limit the length of the video, I'm going with any. Now, in this constructor, first I have to create a function, create new ticket, round bracket, curly bracket, enter. Now, here I have to make the API call. So this dot HTTP dot post API call is going to be there. For paste API call, we need to pass two parameters, first URL and second the object. So let's get the URL. Let's try it out. Let's click on execute. Okay, so this is going to be my API. So I will copy. So first is URL, then second is the object. Object is nothing but this new ticket object. So this I have to pass it over here. Then we have to subscribe to the response. So in React, we write async and await, and we don't have to subscribe, or if we are using fetch API, then we have to write dot then. Okay. So same thing like that over here also. Subscribe is nothing but a dot then. So result colon any arrow function like that. So once we get the response from this API, then we need to show the alert like ticket is created or not, something like that, right? So for that, we have to add a check. So if res dot, now all my APIs are going to return a particular object. So let me show you the object. So you can see all my APIs return a particular object, and it will contain three fields: message, result, and the data, right? So in the data, you get the whole date object, right? With ticket ID, like whatever the record got created. And result is the property you need to watch out for. So if result is true, then you will get to know like the API call was success. If it is an error, you will get false over here. And whatever the reason for API failing, you will get that in the message field. So that check you have to add. So if result is true, then we will show alert. And let's say ticket created successfully message. And in else, we have to show the message we get from the API only. So res dot message. Right. So this API call, simple API call is there. Now, this function we have to call on the button click. So at the end, we have a create button. On that click button, we have to call our function. So this is the button. So here, round bracket, click event is equal to double quotes and round bracket, right? So on this button click, we are calling this API call function. So let's just add a debugger over here. Let's just save all and let's try to debug if we are properly getting the data or not. Right. So, okay, input type date, I have to make it. Input type text was there for the ticket date. Let's make it input type date so that we will get calendar. Let's save. Now let's select today's date. Let's enter name, Sachin. Let's enter a double dummy mobile number. Enter email. We have not done validation on anything right now. Mumbai, Maharashtra, pin code. Right now. Okay, we have forgot to do this calculation. Let's just see if API call is success or not. I'm selecting newspaper. Then let's say 500, 300, then 1. Let's just see if API call is success or not. See, if you can see the total amount and after the discount is disabled, so I'm not able to enter anything. But let's just check if API call is going success or not. Then we will do this remaining validations and everything. So on click of book ticket. So in new ticket object, so all the data, whatever we have filled, that object got preparedly, right? Whatever the data we have filled in all the input types, text, so that data got stored into the object into particular field. Now let's add in 36 number. Let's continue, right? So now in the result, we got true. So means ticket creation is successful and we have shown the alert box also. Now, one more, just pay attention in the network tab. Whenever we make the API call, right? When you're actually working, you have a separate backend team, right? API team is separate and UI team is separate. So whenever you make the API call and you get something error, so API team member will ask you to send the object you are sending, or the payload, or the input. Input, payload, or the object. Everything means you just have to click it over here and go to the payload. So this is the object you are sending, right? So this object you need to send to the API team. But this is an object format. Let's say if you need it in the string format, just click on the view sources. This you have to copy and send it to the API team, so that with this object, then they can test it on their system. If you are facing any error, they might ask you for the object, right? So this is the object you need to pass it to the API team. Then they will analyze with this object like what is going wrong. Then they will let you know like you have not provided the proper data or something. Just to showcase one more thing, in the database, pin code is having maximum length of 6 digit. You can see maximum length is 6 digit. But now let's try to change the pin code with something else. Okay, same data. Again, I'm trying to make the API call, but the pin data is something wrong. Now, if I click on book ticket, continue. So now in the result, you get false. See, okay. And in the error, you will get some error like error occurred from the API side, right? Okay. Now API call is success, but from the API, we have got the error, right? So now you won't understand like what went wrong. So now in that case, you need to copy this whole object and you need to send it to them. Then they will execute that, then will debug, then they will get to know like you have sent the pin code with max digit, right? Greater than whatever the expected digit they should get, you have sent more than that digit. Then they will let you know like you have to send that. Then you add the validation like that, right? So payload is what you send, and in preview and response is like what you get. In preview and response, in both the fields, in both the tab you get the same. Just in response it is a string format, and in preview it is in the object format, right? And the header detail like URL, post, whatever the things you are sending, headers and everything. So this network tab also you should understand. Okay. Now, so our API call is success. Now let's just do the hide and show and this calculation. So first thing we will do is if other is selected, we need to show this. Now, where is this? Let's just hide this. This call 6 doesn't have anything. Wait, why it got call 6, right? Now, so on this drop down change, if this drop down means if we have selected other option on this drop down, we have to show this side column where we have other text box. So for this, we can create one more variable is other selected colon boolean is equal to, by default I'm making it false. Okay, and this variable I'm adding over here with star ng to just hide and show. In case of React, you do the dynamic rendering, conditional rendering with this flag. Same code you will do in the React also. If this variable is true, then you need to render this, right? But in Angular, we have ngif, so we write like this. So now if this variable is true, then only we have to show this. But you can see either we can create this variable, or in Angular side, we know like in this object reference field, we are going to get what option he has selected. So either you can use this variable also over here like this. So this object if equal to other, right? Same thing is going to work. But just for keeping it simple, I'm just storing the reference into another variable. Now, on this drop down change, I need to create call one event. So the event is change, right? On reference change, round bracket. Let's create this function. Now here I will write the code. If this dot our create new ticket object dot our property name is reference, new ticket object dot equal to, we need to compare. We have to compare with this value other. Let's put it over here. If in the drop down we have selected in the reference we have selected other, then only we need to make this variable true. So this dot is equal to true, right? This we have done. Now see, this is the drop down we have binded with this object field. But here what we are going to bind, this is another field, right? So in the same object means in the reference field only we have to send the other value also. Doesn't matter what we select. If we select newspaper, in the same field we have to send. But if we write something over here, that also we need to send in this same field only. Okay. So for that, we are creating one more extra variable that will be other reference with data type string initialized with empty. And this variable I will bind on this other text box. Okay. I will explain like how we pass that. Now let's just test. Okay. So in this function, we have just written the one thing. If this is selected with other, then we are making it true. But in else, we need to make it false again. So in else, we have to just make it false. Let's save and check. So currently we haven't selected anything. So you can see other text box is hidden. But let's say I select newspaper, still it is hidden. But if I select other, see, it is visible. If I selected social media again, it is hidden, right? So our first task is done. Based on the other, we have to show and hide, right? Now, second part was the calculation. Instead of 0, let's initialize with null, because if it is coming 0, that will hide us our placeholder, right? So that doesn't make sense. Total amount, we can keep it like that. So by initializing with null only. So you can see we can see the placeholder. Now calculation part. So adult rate, child rate, then adult count and the children count. All these four fields should have one event on the change, right? On this, all these four text box will have only one change event. And in that change event, when text box change event, we will do our calculation and we will calculate our total amount, right? So let's create a function for that. So calculate ticket amount, round bracket, like this. Now that ticket amount we need to store into object only, right? So this dot ticket object dot total amount. In this field, we have to save the total amount is equal to. Now, so same thing, ticket amount dot adult rate into this dot new ticket object dot adult count, right? Whatever the adult rate is there, that we have to multiply with adult count plus child rate into this dot new ticket object dot child count, right? So this is another. So by now we will get actual total amount. Let's put it in the constant because we have to minus the discount also. Total AMT, right? So here we will get whatever the adult rate we have added and the adult count into, then plus child rate into child count. Okay, let's just do this if it is working fine or not. New ticket object dot total amount is equal to total amount. We have not written the logic for the discount yet. Just save and check if it is okay. And this function we need to call on the all the text box change event, right? So ng model change. Let's try with ng model change if it works or not. In the React, you can simply go with on change, or instead of ng model change, we can go with the change only. Just check if your calculation is coming fine. Let's say adult rate 500, child rate 3. No, something is not right. Okay, still something is not correct. 500, let's say 201. Let's just 6. Something is not right. Let's just analyze the code. Let's add a debugger over here. Okay. So in ticket, okay, everything is coming in string. So we need to convert that into the integer, right? So for that, let's just write number instead of before everywhere. Number, round bracket. Because by default, text box will give you the value in the format of in the string data type, right? So you need to convert it. So I'm just converting that with the number. Let's just test now. Let's say adult rate 500 to 300. Oh, still it is not coming correct. Why it is coming like this? Let's just debug one more time. Adult rate 500. Then this. Let's try to get this output. 500 into adult count. Okay. The mapping we have not correct. We have not done correct mapping. Let's just check. Adult rate is correct. Child rate is okay. Adult count. Adult rate into adult count. But in adult count, we were getting 300. Adult rate is coming 500. In adult count, we are getting 300. Okay, 300 we are adding. This is children rate, 3 and 2. Now it is fine. So in adult count, I was adding 300. So that's why that calculation was coming like that. So let's say 500 is my adult rate, 300 is my children rate. I have 3 adult and the 2 children. So likewise, our calculation is coming like this. But now this same amount we need to populate over here also, right? So in the same function, let's copy paste, and instead of total amount, now it will be final amount, right? So on the calculation, same amount I'm populating in 2 variable. Okay. Now same amount is visible over 2. Now next part is if we add the discount, right? Let's say 10%. So in this total bill, 1900, we have to give the discount and then final amount will be something else, right? So on change of the discount amount, or in the same function, we can write that code as well. So by default discount, it is a input type number, right? So something percent value only we have to add 10, 5, but we should consider that as a percent value. So let's check the formula to convert the percent value. Okay. Now we have to calculate the discount. So discount will be, I'm creating one more local variable, constant discount amount is equal to, this is my total amount minus number, this dot new ticket object dot discount amount divided by 100, right? So here I will get the discounted amount, and this discounted amount I have to minus from this variable. So this minus discounted amount, right? So our ticket amount is nothing but whatever we have done as the calculation. Then we are calculating the discounted amount, and this discounted amount we are minusing from our actually calculated amount and putting it into the final amount. So let's just save and test it. And same function we have to call on the discount text box also, because in this function only we are doing all the calculation, right? So let's just check. 500, 300, 4 adults, 2 children. So our total rate is 1600, 2600. Let's add 15% discount. Why we are getting not a number? Let's just check. Let's just debug the code. Okay. So now total amount we have got 2600 discount. Okay. Variable is not correct. Let's see what is the variable name. Discount in percent. The object name got changed. Now it should work fine. 500, 300, 4 adult, 2 children, 2600. Let's add 15% discount to that. No, still something is not correct. Let's just debug. Instead of 12 should be there. So discount is total amount minus divided by 100. Let's add 50 over here. Okay, total amount multiply. We have done minus over here. This we have to multiply to calculate the discounted amount. Let's continue. Let's do one more time. 300, 4 adult, 2 children. Let's add 15%. Right. So let's try with 50%. It should be as half, right? So our discount amount, discount calculation is also working fine, right? So let's create one more ticket. Then we will jump to our list page. So let's say 25 date, Rahul. Let's just enter a dummy data. Okay, one more part is remaining. So if we select other, then whatever we type over here, that we need to add to our object, right? So that part we are going to do before posting the data. So here we have to add the if check. If what other check, right? So if in this property we have reference variable as other, if it is other, then whatever the data we fill in the other text box, that we need to attach in this object only. So this is a small condition we have to add before posting the data. So what this code is doing, sorry, with this variable, if other is selected, if other text box is visible in the same object, in the same field, we just need to add whatever the data we have added in the other field in the reference field, right? So this is the another check we have to add. So let's just save. Today's date. Let's again enter Rahul. right? If I select other and I got to know from friends. So friends, I'm adding adult rate 500, 400, 3, 4, discount 12%, right? Now let's just add a debugger in that save API call, right? So on click of book ticket, ticket got created. Let's me show you the network tab. In the payload, in the reference field, you can see friends is going because other was selected. So that friends is going into the reference field, right? Now, let's check the gate API. We should see the two records in get all tickets. Try it out, execute. Okay, three records are there. One was with the string, right? Now this data we have to show in the another page. So we have the nav bar. So let's just add the things over that, the routes. So in app component.html, we have href. Instead of that router link, we will use. And on the router link, we have to add the routes name. So new ticket I'm adding by default. I have not created the dashboard component. Router link, router link, router link. Over here also new ticket only. And the ticket list we have to add on the ticket list. This will go over here. And just save. Right. If I click on the ticket list, you can see ticket list component is getting loaded on new ticket. Here what went wrong? Okay, new ticket we have to add. Right. So now routing is also working fine. Now in this component, we have to get the data from this get all tickets and show it into the table format. Right. So let's close this. In ticket list, I will create dot row dot call 12. Inside that, I will create table also and the card also, so that we will have two options. So after this row, I will create one more. First, I will create table. Let's just add bootstrap classes. Head, tr, and th. Right. So let's check what number of properties we are getting. Only this number of properties we are going to display, right? Ticket ID, any primary key we don't normally display in the table or anywhere in the application. We don't display primary key anywhere. That is just for us. That is just for our developer use. When we make the API call that we need it, that's why we get it from the get API call, but we don't have to display primary key anywhere. Okay. So first, like serial number, let me just copy paste. Name, mobile number, adult, children's. We are getting adult count, children count, and the final amount and the ticket date, right? When was this ticket created? So before everything, we will just show the ticket date and the final amount, right? This is T head. After that, we need T body. Now in React, we use the by using the map operator, use the we use map operator on inside the outside the tr, right? But in the Angular, we use tr and we have a ng for over there. So star ng for let item off. Okay, we haven't done the API call. Now, first we need to make the API call in the component, right? So on the component load, when the component load, we have to make the API call. So for that, in Angular, we have lifecycle hooks that is on in it. Same like that in Angular, you have to write the same code in use effect, but in Angular, we have ng on in it. So implement on init, then ng on init we have to write, constructor also we have to write, because in constructor we have to create the HTTP client method. Let's add the import. It is not suggesting. Let's copy paste. Okay, H was small. That's why it was not suggesting. Okay, now from here we are going to create one more function. Two functions we are going to need: get all tickets and the get today's ticket. Right. So both API call I'm going to create first. Get all tickets. This function is responsible to load all the tickets created till now. Okay. So this dot http dot get method is there. So for get API, we just have to pass only URL. Right. So let's just copy that URL. This is my URL. It will go over here. Then the subscribe call to catch the response. Now, whatever the response we are going to get from this API, that we need to store into one variable, right? So ticket list colon any, this is going to be array. So like that I'm creating. Right, in React, you can create the state with the array data with empty array. And whatever the response we get, we need to store the response over here. Just wait for some time. So response we have to hold into this variable. So ticket list is equal to res.data. So in my API, you will get the data. Okay, capital res is there. So in the data, you will get the response. Let's just check. So you can see in the data, actually we have the array. So this we need to store, right? That's why result.data. And this function we have to call on the page load. So this dot get all tickets. So in the React also, you might have seen use effect get automatically called. Just like that, this function in Angular also get automatically called. So that's why whatever the function we have to make on the page load, that we put it over here, right? Just like this, we need one more function to load the today's data. Instead of get all ticket, it will be get today's tickets. We have another API. Let's execute, write out, execute. Just the method name is going to change, right? The response we get, that again we are going to store in the same variable, because this variable only we are going to bind to the HTML. So now this variable we have to use over here. TD. We need to show the serial number also, right? So let SR is equal to index, and here we will print the data. So in React we use single interpolation, but here we have double interpolation. So SR plus 1. Then whatever the object data we are going to get, that we need to print it over here. So item dot, again, this thing you need to copy paste because this is going to be same, right? So item data, let's check the data, what we are getting, ticket data. This will go over here. Then name, always try to copy paste from the API response because you don't make the spelling mistake. If you make the spelling mistake, you won't get the error. So mobile number we have to bind. Then adult count, this will go over here. Then we have children count, so that will go over here. And final amount. Okay. So let's just save and check if we are able to show the data into the table. Then we will do the card also, right? So whatever the data we are getting from the API side, that we have successfully displayed over here. But we don't have to show this extra time also, right? So we can add a pipe over here, date pipe, and we can pass the format dd yy. So let's just save. Now date should be properly visible, right? You can see 25 December 2023. Now, just like the table, we need to create the bootstrap card also. So after this row, again, I will create one more row. And here we need to here we need to create the bootstrap card. So let's just go to the bootstrap website and just copy the basic bootstrap code. Bootstrap card. This I will copy, paste it over here. Let's just format. Now in one row, we are going to show 4 tickets. So it will be 3, right? In header, we will show our, now same for loop we have to use. This same for loop, I will use it on the call 3 because call 3 we are going to iterate, right? So item dot customer name we have to show. So customer name over here. Then in content, we can show adult count. Again, I will create a row column just to show data side by side. Call 6. Adult count. Children count, and the final amount I will show in the footer. I will add text end class. So we'll go at the end. This will be text right. And after that name in the header only, I will add small tag and show the mobile number. And before above row, I will add paragraph and show the date, ticket date. So I will copy this and paste it over here. Let's just save and check. Okay, so same data is visible, but now at the time only at least a table or a card view will be visible. Now we just need to add a buttons to toggle this. So here we have created this button, right? So in that we will need 3 buttons. Class btn primary, let's say tile or grid view. Okay, now what I'm going to do is we have a button which will act as a toggle, right? So if we click on tile, right, the title is button title is also going to change. If tile is there and if we click, grid will be there and grid table data will be visible. And if we again click, then cards will be visible and the title is also going to change. Now to do this, we have to create one more variable. So that variable we will create, and let's put a variable name as is tile view colon data type boolean. By default is self false. Okay. Now this variable I'm going to use to hide and show the table, right? So star ng if. So if tile view is false, then we will show the table, right? Now opposite of that, if this variable is true, then we will show the tile. So let's just see for now. We have not saved the .ts. Let's save. So see, currently variable value was false, right? So that's why only table is visible. Let's make it true. only card is visible. Now we just need to make that variable dynamic on this button click, right? And this variable also we can use. Now, rather than creating function and doing that, same thing I can do it from here also. Not this is equal to not of this. So whatever the value we have, just the opposite of that we are storing. And here also we can use the interpolation because titles button text can be dynamic. Button text need to be dynamic. So if this variable is true, then this text, otherwise this text. So if variable is true, means if tile view is true, then we have to show grid over here, otherwise tile over here. Let's just check whole functionality now. Let's add it text and over here. Now, so you can see currently tile is visible. So we have the grid button, right? If I click on grid, you can say table is visible. Again, we have tile. So vice versa thing is visible. So this is the some this kind of what we say tile view and the grid view. This is also asked in the most interview questions, right? How do we manage that? With the simple variable and changing that variable value, we can manage this, right? Now we need two more button just to filter get all data in the today's data. So this button. Now again, single variable also we can use, or we can create two variables. So I will use single variable. Now just like this, I will create one more variable. It's all data colon boolean true. Okay. Again, I'm going to create one more variable which will denote like which button we have clicked. Rather than creating two buttons, we are managing that with a single button. Is equal to not of this. Same like text will be dynamic. If all is true, this, otherwise this. If is all data variable is true, then we have to make get today's, show today's, otherwise all. Let's just check if this is working, then we will trigger the API call. Show today's all tickets. It is working fine. Let's just add some space and next to right now. On click of this, okay, we should not do this over here because we have to integrate the API call, right? On toggle, this function we have to create on right. Now on this button click, we are calling this function. Now we have to change the variable in that function. So this dot is equal to not of this dot same variable. Whatever the current value we have, we are just storing the opposite value. If it is true, false, false. If it is true, then we can add the condition. If this variable value is true, means if all data is true, so we have to call this function get all ticket. So this dot get all ticket over here. If it is false, so it will go to the else block, and there we have to call get today's. So this dot get today's ticket data, right? Now we just have to add some other data also. Let's go to new ticket. Let's add some future tickets. Ram. Let's add some dummy data. Just book ticket. Ticket creation successful. Now let's go to ticket list. So you can see currently we are getting all the data, including 27 December and today's also. But if I click on today's data, so only 3 records are visible. If I click on all tickets, all data is visible, right? So this is the whole application we have created, right? So only with one table and some 4 to 6 APIs, we have created this whole thing, right? Now with one only task is remaining, that is dashboard. So get ticket dashboard. This API we have to integrate, execute. So here you can see total tickets we have 4 and today's ticket is 3. So we just need to make this API call on the navbar. Now navbar is in my home component, app component. So there we have to integrate our API call. So in app component, let's create constructor, private, HTTP, client. Let's add the import. This is just the last part. Get dashboard data. This dot HTTP. Get API call is there. Copy our URL. Then we have to subscribe the response. Subscribe. Right. Whatever the data we are going to get from this API, that also we need to store. So dashboard data :any. So in response, we are going to get 10. See, from response, we are going to get the array, but obviously only one object is going to come, right? So while assigning, we need to get data of 0. Right. So here, this dot dashboard data is equal to res dot data square bracket 0, because always only one object is going to come in that array. So that's why like this. So in this dashboard data, this was a thing, total dashboard data dot, what is the property name? Total tickets. Today's count also we have to show dashboard data dot today's ticket. This will go over here. So let's just say, okay. Here also on the page load, we need to integrate it, right? So on init, we have to call implements on init and ng on init. Same thing you can do this function you can do in the constructor also, but that is just a bad practice. Whenever on the page load you need to do something, always try to implement the ng on init, and there you can make the API call. Let's just save and check. Okay. So here you can see total record 4 and today's record 3. Just a dashboard kind of information we have shown, right? So all functionality we have done. So that's it with this current video.